1,000 shares are available for South Africans to buy. Those shares were made available after the High Court ruled that the existing shareholders who had more than 10,000 shares had to dispose the excess beyond 10,000. Now, for more on this and to understand this issue, we cross to Devan Murugan, who has been covering the press briefing in Pretoria. Devan, a very good morning to you and welcome. Can you give us a wrap of what actually came out of this Reserve Bank press briefing this morning?
Well, thanks very much indeed, Elvis. Good morning. Well, essentially, today's press briefing was all about the Reserve Bank governor telling South Africans that shares are available for the broader public to buy. Now, there was a High Court ruling in November last year, and let me just give you some background as to how this came to being. In 2010, the Reserve Bank Act declared that no shareholder can earn more or own more than 10,000 shares. So that was the limit, the statutory limit that it is known. If the family member or groupings in that unit owns more than 10,000 shares, that ruling compelled those to actually sell off those excess shares. As a result, what had happened, as you mentioned, was that 149,000 shares had become available. So what the Reserve Bank governor had said today is that those shares are now available for the members of the public to buy. So the Reserve Bank is not a profit organization, a profit-making organization. What the aim of this objective basically is to increase the scope and the band at which people own shares of the Reserve Bank. As I said, it doesn't. The dividends is not the issue. What the issue is that more and more people get to actually attend the annual general meetings of the Reserve Bank. They have a say on non-executive members that are deployed to the board of the Reserve Bank. It just gives the public a sense of ownership in some way or the other to the Reserve Bank. So to wrap up again, 149,000 shares. The Reserve Bank governor, Lesetja Kganyago, says he encourages South Africans far and wide to actually get involved and buy some of these shares.
How do people get hold of these shares and how much do they cost, Devan?
All right, as far as the cost is concerned, Elvis, this is a market price cost which would be quite reasonable, but he hasn't given any number to that as yet. Because as I said here, the drive is not necessarily to go ahead and get dividends or actually have some monetary possession of these shares, but in a sense gives you a better proximity to the Reserve Bank, a better say on who's chosen on the board, for example. You get a vote in that regard, and of course to actually attend the meetings of the Reserve Bank, the annual general meetings. How to get hold of it, that information of course would come out in due course, but of course just contacting the Reserve Bank and then finding out what processes move forward from that point.
What does the Reserve Bank governor say? Because there's a lot of talk about radical economic transformation. Is this part and parcel of their radical economic transformation?
That's a very interesting question. In fact, one of the journalists put that to him, asking him exactly what you said. Is this part and parcel of actually getting down to the ground and increasing ownership? Well, on the ownership front, it's exactly that. But the Reserve Bank governor went far as to say that the drama that we seen last year, where we had some ministers in the cabinet questioning whether or not the Reserve Bank is doing enough for transformation, whether or not the Reserve Bank is assisting and ensuring that growth and the economic activities in the country is transformed. He says, we had a little bit of a drama last year, but since then, that question hasn't come up. But it's obvious that if you are going to increase the scope and give more opportunities for South Africans to get hold of these shares, I suppose the sentiment is there. You want to increase the ownership and increase the scope in which people are connected, South Africans are connected to the Reserve Bank.
Devan, I thank you so much for your time and giving us that report. That was economic news reporter Devan Murugan from the Reserve Bank. So, go out and get your shares. Get what is yours. Economic transformation. The President spoke about it. Now, the Right to Know campaign in the Western Cape